Hello and welcome to Flowtech Talk. Today we're showing you how to install a modulating DPS kit into a J&J electric actuator. The DPS kit can be installed either in-house at our EMC team, or it can also be installed off-site, retrofitted by your own users. Inside the box, when you receive a new lid, circuit board, fixings required with serial number, and you'll also receive a full set of pictorial instructions. This is a really easy procedure, so we're going to show you now how to start, which is remove the hand wheel. And that's followed then by removing the cover screws. There are 6, each located around the outside of the actuator. When removing the cover, be really careful because inside here there are cables that are connected and you want to make sure that you don't trap any of them. To remove the cables is really easy. They're all located and they simply pull off. After you've removed, this is no longer required. Next step is to remove the dome indicator from the top, which you will need later. Inside the bag supplied with the DPS kit is the support column, serial number for traceability of the DPS kit you're installing, and also 3 screws. 2 of the screws are the same and they're used for locating the column to the base, and the third one is used for the self tapper to secure the PCB to the top of the column. Once that's tight, you'll notice this doesn't move, and this is really important because it holds the board nice and securely in place. So when you're fitting the DPS board, you want to make sure that the notch inside here lines up with the line on the top of the shaft. Once this is lined up, slowly push that down over the top, and you'll notice that you need to line here the 2 connectors. It's important that when you're pushing this down, you make sure that's aligned before you push it down. Don't force it down. Once that's in place, you'll feel it's really secure and tight at the top. Next step, make sure you put the screw inside at the top here, which secures the PCB in place. Once that's in place, you'll notice this is really tight and secure. It's not going to move or fall around. Next step is to put the cables back in for the new cover. A new cover is supplied in the box because you require the extra DIN plug for your control signal. Ensuring that the cables here run is really important. When you're placing the lid back on again, you don't want to trap any cables. So the important part is to make sure the power supply cable goes in first. That secures in place. Next part is for the DPS. This goes into the in-out marked on top of the PCB board here. It can only go in one way. And the last part is for the end of travel limit switches. This goes into the circuit board at the bottom here. And then we got the earth cable. The earth slots behind the motor into place. Once this is done, the actuator is ready for setup. The actuator can be set up really easy. On the front here you'll see a set of dip switches which control the configuration of the actuator. Initial setup is required for position 1 to be set up into the on position. Once this is set up into the on position, the actuator will configure itself by going from the closed to the open position when the power is supplied to the actuator. Once it's done that, it sets its 0 to 90 degree quadrant. After that, you can set your control signal. In this case, for example, we might be using 4 to 20 milliamp within the fail close position. So we'll move this back down to the 0 position, and then we'll lift this back up to the 4 to 20. If, for example, you were using 0 to 10 volt control signal, once again, we can then lift this up here to that position, and this is now configured to 0 to 10 volt DC control input signal. All of the configurations are available in the instruction manual and they're clearly shown on all the options. Once that's done, it's important to replace the cover. Replace the cover is the reverse of removing it. So we put the position indicator back on. Once the position indicator is back on, we make sure that we put the cover back on. Now this is important not to trap the cables. So here we need to make sure that we drop the cables in and they're not sat over the top of the seal for the IP67 here. We line it up at the top. We do a quick visual scan all the way around. If you're seeing any trapped cables, make sure you take the cover back off and you replace it back down again. Once that's done, drop it home. You'll feel a positive click as it goes into place. This is really important because again, this is your IP67 seal around here. And then in reverse, we now put the screws back in to lift the cover back on. Finally, we replace the hand wheel, making sure that we do the nut up tightly. Serial number and selection, put it on either side depending on which is more visible on site, and then ensuring you select the 0 to 10 volt on the side. Other options are available on there. We also have the same selection on here and also at the bottom. In this case we also have the normally closed for the functionality, and that is how you install a DPS kit into an on-off electric actuator. Thanks for listening. Watch out for more of our Flowtech Talk videos.